The Remington Report. Sponsored by Heritage Place, the place where champions are sold. Also sponsored by the Oklahoma Quarter Horse Racing Association, promoting quarter horse, app, and paint racing in Oklahoma. And I'm your host, Greg Thompson of StallionResearch.com.
You bet I'll be watching.
Hello, this is Greg Thompson of StallionResearch.com for the Remington Report. This is episode 9 of 15. Last weekend, what a tremendous action-packed stakes weekend they had at Remington Park, highlighted by the $720,000 Remington Park Oklahoma bred futurity. But let's look forward to this weekend. We have the PSBA American Paint Classic Futurity and Derby on tap. Before we get started, let's go ahead and look and analyze what happened last weekend.
The race recap brought to you by StallionResearch.com.
We begin the recap with a review of the Remington Park Oklahoma bred futurity. Keep your eyes on the 6th horse, Lotta PYC, who breaks out on top and within the first 40 yards of the race finds himself in front and well in command throughout and finishes only under mild urging from jockey G.R. Carter for trainer Rodney Reed and owner Steve Holt. The time of the race, 16.614 seconds in the 330-yard event, which earned him a speed index of 94. He now has 3 wins and 3 lifetime starts. He now boasts career earnings over $308,000. The Remington Report was able to talk with winning jockey G.R. Carter about his win aboard the talented 2-year-old.
Yeah, he really warmed up phenomenal, and was just utmost professional from warming up to walking in the gate, and stood really well, and just really left the gate as good as you could expect a big horse like he is to leave there. And I reached and got into him a couple times left hand early in the race, and he just really ran away from him, and the race was pretty much in hand. It was just really a great performance, you know, and it's sure a lot of fun being part of it, and I think the horse has got a bright future.
After talking with trainer Rodney Reed, it is most likely we will see this trainee of his in the Rainbow Futurity Trials, with the ultimate goal being the All-American.
Now that we have the big stake race out of the way, let's look at all the other stakes action that happened this past weekend at Remington.
Starting out with the Remington Park Oklahoma bred Derby, we'll find Grade 2 East Tex winner A Toss-Up rolling on the outside in order to get up for the win in the $246,000 Derby, under jockey David Pignon for trainer Eddie D. Willis. This is the second stakes win this meet for A Toss-Up, who is by sweet first down out of a Corona Cartel mare named Shake Cartel. He is owned by James Sills and Abel Flores, and he was bred in Oklahoma by James Sills. Now on to the Grade 2 Bob Moore Memorial, where we find another Eddie Willis trainee along the outside, but this time with jockey Jimmy Brooks aboard as he guides streaking down in his first win as a 5-year-old. The win pushes his career bankroll to over $774,000 for owner Ed Melzer. Rolling right along into the recap of the $30,000 Lykelbird Stakes for 2-year-old fillies going 300 yards. Another busy night for Eddie D. Willis in the winner's circle as his trainee Madrasita powers away from the field under jockey Jimmy Brooks for owner Rodney Verrett. Moving right along to the recap of the $30,000 Ladybug's Moon Stakes for 2-year-old colts and geldings going 330 yards. That's where we'll find Clinton Crawford train Paint the Candy Lane under jockey Tony Bennett sprinting to victory for owner Carl Peavyhouse. And it's on to the $100,000 Remington Park Oklahoma bred Juvenile Stakes. A full field of 2-year-olds with Judd Curl trained PYC Can't Catch Me getting the best of them, with jockey Cody Jensen aboard for owner Jesus Andrade. Still more stakes action at Remington with a $30,000 Mr. Masterbug Stakes that ran on Sunday. It was another stakes win for jockey Tony Bennett, who was aboard Cadillac Man for trainer Frank Cooper for owner Greg Cullum. And that leads us to the last race recap with the spotlight on the Grade 1 Mr. Louis Handicap for the Paints and Apps. Barney Ofield leads the way to the finish line in front for owners Haywood and Willis, with Kenny Muntz doing the riding for trainer Eddie Lee Willis. And that's the great big Remington race recap for this week. The Remington Report is sponsored by Heritage Place. Heritage Place in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Upcoming yearling sale in September 20th through the 23rd. Heritage Place, the place where champions are sold.
And we're back here on the Remington Report. Let's look forward to this weekend. We have the American Paint Classic Futurity and Derby. So let's get started analyzing the Futurity first.
The Remington Stakes Preview, sponsored by StallionEsearch.com.
We'll start out with the Paint Classic Futurity analysis, where one trial produced the first, second, fourth, and sixth fastest qualifiers. With the fastest qualifier being in the middle of the foursome along the inside part of the track. That would be Personal Ensign, who looked as if he was beaten about at half track and then surged in the final yards to post the top time for trainer Eddie D. Willis. Look how close that finish was, as D. Keener trained Super Glide Harley only got beat by a nose to qualify as the second fastest qualifier.
There are several points I'd like to make analyzing the Futurity here. First and foremost, Personal Ensign was not the favorite going into his trial race and winds up the fastest qualifier going into the finals. I think that shows just how deep this field is going into the Futurity finals for the American Paint Classic Futurity. So now let's analyze the American Paint Classic Derby that's also going to be run on Saturday.
We're going to isolate the trial that produced the first, fourth, sixth, and 10th fastest qualifier. Blast the Chicks in the four-path seemingly is running away from the contenders in the field with an ultra-impressive performance under jockey G.R. Carter for trainer Louis Villafranca. Rawhide Legend finished second, only 3/4 of a length behind the winner, but qualified fourth for the finals. And that's the Remington Race Preview for this week.
An official representative for horsemen in the state, the OQHRA administers race, benevolence, and scholarship programs, all to better the state of racing in the state of Oklahoma. Visit OQHRA.com.
The Breeding Shed Moment, brought to you by StallionEsearch.com.
This week's spotlighted stallion for the Breeding Shed Moment is once again PYC Paint Your Wagon. The Corona Cartel 9-year-old stallion had a tremendous weekend of stakes winners at Remington Park. Starting with Paint the Candy Lane, who won the $30,000 Ladybug's Moon Stakes for 2-year-old colts and geldings. Paint the Candy Lane is out of a Devon Lane mare named Eden Lane, who was bred by Carl Peavyhouse. He also sired PYC Can't Catch Me, who won the $100,000 Remington Park Oklahoma bred juvenile stakes for 2-year-olds for trainer Judd Curl and owner Jesus Andrade. He was bred in Oklahoma by Watona Stanley. But the big win for him as a sire this weekend came in the $720,000 Remington Park Oklahoma bred Futurity with Lotta PYC, who is by PYC Paint Your Wagon and is out of a Shazoom mare named Lotta Wada. He was bred by his owner Steve Holt in Oklahoma. PYC Paint Your Wagon is currently the #1 leading sire of Money Earners for 2012, the current #1 2-year-old sire, as well as the current leading third crop sire for 2012. You can view PYC Paint Your Wagon's stallion page at StallionEsearch.com. And that's the Breeding Shed Moment for this week.
Okay, that's all the time we have here on the Remington Report. I'm Greg Thompson of StallionEsearch.com. Remember, if you can't be at the racetrack, go to AQHA.com/racing and watch all the Q racing videos to your heart's content, all the live racing as well as all the replays. We'll see you next week here on the Remington Report.